June 2nd, 1955. The air was thick and sweet with the promise of summer that evening. I was living at Uncle Richard's. The sound of a familiar engine rumbling up the drive sent a flutter through my heart. It was Dave. He didn't even have to knock. I was already at the door. A smile I couldn't contain spread across my face. A nervous energy hummed between us, a silent question hanging in the space he'd carefully created. "Let's go for a little ride," he said, his voice softer than usual. We drove slowly. The familiar trees lining Coates Road blurred into a watercolor of green and gold as the sun began to dip low. He found a quiet spot where the road curved and the light dappled and danced across the dashboard. He turned off the engine. The sudden silence was immense. He turned to face me, his eyes searching mine. "Do you love me?" The question was barely a whisper. It landed with the weight of everything we had ever been to each other. My heart seemed to swell in my chest, a breathless, joyous ache. "Of course I do," I answered, my own voice filled with a certainty that felt as natural as breathing. It was the truest thing I had ever said. He looked down for a moment, then slowly raised his head and met my gaze again. "For how long?" he asked. A small smile touched my lips. This was it. This was the moment that would define all the others. I looked deep into his eyes and whispered, "Forever." The word was a promise, a vow given freely in the quiet intimacy of the car. And then he kissed me. It wasn't a hurried or desperate kiss, but one filled with relief and a profound sense of homecoming. He kissed me again, deeper this time, a seal on the promise I had just made. He pulled me close, holding me tightly in his arms. I rested my head against his chest for a long, beautiful stretch of time. The world outside simply fell away. There was only the solid strength of his embrace, and the feeling of being completely and utterly cherished. When he finally loosened his hold, he kept my hand in his. He reached into his pocket with his other hand, bringing out a small velvet box. My breath caught in my throat. He opened it. There, nestled inside, was a ring that caught the fading sunlight and splintered it into 1,000 tiny rainbows. He gently slipped it onto my finger. It was a perfect fit. My gaze was on the ring, examining every glimmer. Thoughts of forever racing through my mind. We didn't speak for a few moments. We just sat, wrapped in each other's arms, the cool metal of the ring a tangible reminder of the forever we had just promised. I could feel the steady, riving thump of his heart against my ear, a perfect counterpoint to the wild beating of my own heart. It was a symphony just for us. When we finally drove back to Aunt Pauline's, the twilight had settled, painting the sky in shades of purple and rose. We walked in hand, our faces glowing with a secret we couldn't wait to share. Standing there in the warm light of the living room, surrounded by family, we told them we were engaged.
In the quaint town of Oxford, Michigan, David took Betty's hand and their love began. They married young, their hearts so free. dreaming of all their lives could be. 5 little voices would soon fill their space. 2 boys, 3 girls, a vibrant place. Oh, David and Betty, through thick and thin, they built a life where love could win. For better or worse, they both stayed strong, held on to each other, the dreams they'd drawn. The kids come to visit, sometimes too long, but the home's always open, they all belong. David's heart yearned for the open road, his motorcycle, a wild abode. He loved the cabin, woods and deer, his hunting grounds, they'd bring him cheer. He loved to tinker with trains, tractors and planes, a mechanical mind, a passion sustains. His fishing hat, his trademark style, a constant companion mile after mile. Oh, David and Betty, through thick and thin, they built a life where love could win. For better or worse, they both stayed strong, held on to each other, the dreams they'd drawn. The kids come to visit, sometimes too long, but the home's always open, they all belong. Betty's love for family runs deep, laughter and joy her spirit would keep. Faithful to God, her path is sure, loving her children forever pure. Her Bible a guiding light always near. She faces life's trials without fear. She cared for the elderly with tender grace, helped with their chores, a loving embrace. A heart so big she gave all she could. In the choir she sang, a voice so good. Oh, David and Betty, through thick and thin, they built a life where love could win. For better or worse, they both stayed strong, held on to each other, the dreams they'd drawn. The kids come to visit, sometimes too long, but the home's always open, they all belong. David's pace has slowed, but his spirit soars. Though years have passed, his passion endures. He mows the yard, plays pool with glee, finding joy in life's simplicity. He loves to read each page a friend, stories that never seem to end. Though his body has changed, his heart remains true. Life's endless games, he sees them through. Betty's health declines, pain takes its hold, but God's love burns bright, her spirit bold. She fights through trials with strength renewed, God's grace a beacon guiding her through. Her old King James Bible, a trusted friend, her faith is unwavering and will to the end. She cherishes her loved ones near and far, and those marble games a shining star. Oh, David and Betty, through thick and thin, they built a life where love could win. For better or worse, they both stayed strong, held on to each other, the dreams they'd drawn. The kids come to visit, sometimes too long, but the home's always open, they all belong. Kids return with laughter and cheer, echoes of days not quite so clear, memories of mom and memories of dad. Some were happy, some were sad. David and Betty, a love so true. It's our family story, for me and for you.
Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for some behind the scenes and special footage. 70 years. How do you even begin to measure a length of time that has contained so much life? As I sit here in this very uncomfortable chair and let the weight of that number sink in, I'm just overwhelmed with pride and gratitude for the life you've built together. Today isn't just about celebrating a wedding anniversary. It's about honoring the incredible legacy of partnership, resilience, and love that you have created. A legacy that is the foundation of our entire family. Dad, looking back, I see your love in every project you tackled and every practical step you took to provide for us. When I was a boy, I might not have understood the full meaning behind your actions, but as a man, I see it so clearly now. I see your love in the gleaming red and silver mongoose bike you bought for me so I could feel proud like the other kids. I see it in the custom-built trailer you welded together to make my first job easier. And those long rides on the Goldwing, they seem to last forever, going up to the Upper Peninsula in Paradise, Michigan. I see it in the financial sacrifice that you've both made to get me my first computer, a Commodore 64. You couldn't have known it then, but that single gift ignited my lifelong passion for technology. And it's a direct line to the person that I am today. And I even see your love in the trust that you showed me by co-signing for that Dodge Spirit when I was a young man just starting out. Our relationship has had its complexities, of course, but I see now that your love was always there, steady and strong in your actions. Mom, you've always been there, and you've always been the heart of our family. You were the one who always kept me engaged with God's love, making sure that faith was a constant in my life. I can still remember being in the school plays, nervously looking out into the audience, searching until I found your face. Always the most supportive one in the crowd. You even worked at the church, a quiet sacrifice that you made just to pay for my schooling at Oxford Christian Academy. I remember working with you on Saturdays, washing the front door windows at the church. I can't say I truly enjoyed it, but I knew it was one of my chores and that it was helping you. And then I'd go to church on Sunday and watch everyone ruin the work that I had spent so much time perfecting. And I'll never forget the pride I felt when you bought me that silver trumpet, a gift that you gave me so that I could feel proud while playing. It was one of the countless ways you showed your unwavering support. Thank you for your endless patience and your unwavering love. And together, you two somehow managed to tolerate my inquisitive nature, which I know wasn't always easy. You created a home where a kid could experiment, even if those experiments ended with exploding Christmas lights all over the kitchen, or a homemade throwing star that was made from your good knives, which stuck into your bedroom door. Looking back, I see the incredible patience you had with me. I know I did some stupid things in the name of curiosity, but I'm so grateful for the grace that you showed, and sometimes showed that destructive kid. Through the harder times that followed when I made bad decisions and sometimes felt alone, you gave me the foundation early on to learn one of life's most important lessons. I felt the responsibility to make things right, and I've learned to take that responsibility for my actions. You taught me through your own examples of integrity what it means to own your mistakes, and that lesson has guided me more than you could ever know. You built more than a home. You built a world for us. That world was the family cabin in Glennie, filled with the smell of the woods and the sound of family and friends laughing. It was the annual pilgrimage to Holland, a tradition filled with squeaky sand under your feet, bonfires on the beach, and the magic of a family weekend together. It was also that long trip that we all took to California and back. I can still picture it perfectly. Me in the back of the truck with a friend, playing music and singing, while you two sat together in the front seat, guiding us on our adventure. The nights we spent at the KOA campgrounds, the awe of the Rocky Mountains, the sheer size of the Grand Canyon, and the giant trees in the Sequoia National Park. You don't just show me the country, you taught me how to make memories on the open road. You have shown all of us what it means to be a true team, to stick together through thick and thin. I know that 70 years couldn't have always been easy, and I feel an overwhelming appreciation for the fact that you chose to stay together. Your commitment to each other gave me a stable and secure life, a foundation I could always count on, which is a gift that I can never repay. Knowing that you are always on the same page, a united front facing the world, is the greatest lesson in partnership anyone could ask for. 70 years, it's more than a lifetime for many, but for you two, it's been a single shared journey, from the quiet promise of thousands of shared sunrises to the monumental task of raising a family. You've navigated it all as an unbreakable team. You have weathered storms we can only imagine and celebrate joys both great and small. Always turning toward each other, your marriage is more than just an incredible achievement. It is a masterclass in commitment, a partnership in grace. Thank you for the quiet sacrifices you made that we never even saw, for the life lessons in integrity and resilience that you taught by example, and for the unconditional love that has been the greatest gift of our lives. It is the bedrock upon which our family stands. Happy 70th anniversary.
Hey, Mom and Dad. Happy 70th wedding anniversary. 70 years of partnership, commitment, and love is an incredible milestone, and it's a testament to the beautiful life you built together. As I was thinking about this special occasion, my mind just flooded with gratitude, reflecting on the wonderful family you created and the amazing childhood you gave us. So many of my favorite memories are the simple moments you made special. I was thinking about our summer trips to Stony Lake in Oxford. I can still see it so clearly, Mom loading us all into the back of the truck, and Dad at the wheel driving us to the beach. We'd always have that ever-present bar Zest soap and a bottle of Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo. I'll never forget those many Saturday evenings in the summer when we'd go to the lake around 8 o'clock, just as the sun was setting, to take a bath. The feeling of that cool lake water after a hot day was so refreshing, and it was always just so much fun. On the best nights, we'd go get ice cream afterward, and we would sing as loud as we possibly could all the way home, completely happy and sticky, without a care in the world. Then there was the winter adventures. I have such a wonderful, vivid memories of us all snowmobiling at the cabin. I can still picture myself bundled up, usually riding behind Mom, but sometimes Phil would ride behind her, and I got to be with Dad as we pulled the cutter, gliding over the snow. I remember it was sometimes so cold that our faces would sting, but those memories are some of the warmest I have. You taught us to find adventure everywhere. I loved it when we went to the gravel pits to look for fossils, and that sense of curiosity and discovery you instilled in us must have stuck, because to this day I still get a thrill out of looking for Petoskey stones and other interesting specimens. Beyond all the fun and adventures, I am so deeply grateful for the foundation you gave us. Mom, you kept us involved in church, and by your example taught us such important moral and spiritual values. That foundation became a compass I've used my entire life. We all witnessed your unwavering strength through every challenge, and we never, ever had to doubt your unconditional love and commitment to your family, to your friends, or to your God. And Dad, you were our disciplinarian, and you taught us some of life's most important lessons. You taught us respect, the value of working hard, and the importance of always giving 110% in any work we did. You believed in consistency and justice, and while we sometimes learned about that justice the hard way, those lessons taught us that our actions have meaning and consequences. Together, you gave us all a wonderful, safe place to grow up, and you gave us an amazing amount of freedom. We had playgrounds, lakes, trails, and woods to call our backyard. That freedom to ride our bikes, go fishing, and climb trees shaped our independence and gave us a confidence that we've carried with us. Of course, we had to do our share of housework or put in some time in the garden, but even that taught us responsibility. We were truly deeply blessed to grow up as we did. Everything we are and all the best parts of us can be traced back to the love you shared and the lessons you taught. You both influenced us to become the people we are today. Thank you for 70 incredible years of love and commitment. I am so thankful that Betty Lou McIntyre and David Dean Ludwig became my parents, and I am eternally grateful for all you have done for me. I love you forever.
Let me begin by saying how proud I am to be your daughter and how much I have enjoyed my visits to Michigan to be of help to you or just spend time with you both. I spent weeks thinking of the perfect words to say to honor you both on your 70th anniversary. No words seem quite as impactful as the last 3 that are written on this page. I love you. As a child, these words were not spoken often in our home. I'm sure we loved each other, but we never felt the importance to say those words until 2020, when we thought we were saying goodbye to our mom. As a family, we needed each other and appreciated the strengths and the unity that we had as a large family to get through this difficult time. We now see a tender side of my dad as he tucks my mom into bed each night with a kiss and "I love you too" as he walks out the bedroom. As siblings, we are now quick to say "I love you" before ending a phone call or saying goodbye. We understand the importance of family. Mom, thank you for praying me through the difficult times in life. If left to my own decisions, my path may have turned out much different. Your prayers were heard and answered according to God's will. May God continue to work in our hearts as you continue to pray for each one of us. Thank you for always having a song to sing to lighten the mood or remind us of God's love and promises. You have set the example to always make a joyful noise unto the Lord. Dad, you are unwavering. If you said it to be so 62 years ago, it's still so today. Thank you for instilling in me values that have made me strong and determined, but also honest and reliable. I've always felt your love, even in the moments of your frustration and discipline. As a family, we have watched you become gentle to speak and slow to anger. You have even apologized a few times recently when you yelled and reverted back to bossy dad. We now get to hear your words of approval and appreciation as the roles in life are reversing. I think you actually enjoy having us around. Look around this room. We have decades of celebrating holidays, birthdays, weddings, and the birth of all those precious babies. We have undergone the devastation of losing our beloved Jill and Andrew. Life is full of laughter and tears, but we have wonderful memories that will last a lifetime as we share with the next generation the importance of family unity. Thank you all for encouraging and praying for my mom and dad. Through it all, love has endured. Here's to many more years enjoying and loving each other. I love you. Happy 70th anniversary.
Happy 70th anniversary. 70 years. That's amazing. It's hard to fully grasp. When I think about this incredible milestone, I think about the life you created and the family you raised. My mind keeps drifting back to some of my favorite memories with you both, especially our family adventures. My mind goes all the way back to the beginning. As the firstborn, I was the one who kicked off your adventure into parenthood. I've always cherished hearing how proud and happy you were, Dad, that your first child was a boy. I know that proud feeling might not have lasted long because of all the trouble I caused, and my independence as I grew up must have been confusing for you both, especially for Mom. But even with all that, it's a special feeling to know that I was the start of it all for you. The feeling of being the first started early, right down to learning how to ride my first two-wheeler. I'll never forget that 24-inch bike I got for Christmas. I had to sit on the bar to pedal it, and my feet still didn't reach the ground. I remember you watching from the porch, Mom, probably holding your breath while Dad gave me a big push out towards the gravel driveway. It was terrifying and thrilling all at once, but it was my first taste of freedom on two wheels, all thanks to both of you. I can still hear the loud, high-pitched buzz of those old two-stroke engines and smell that distinct exhaust hanging in the crisp winter air. I see Dad on that powerful Polaris Colt and Mom on that classic yellow Skidoo. Whether we were just out for an evening trip on the roads and fields around Oxford, or bundled up for a big trip up north, those were some of the best times. But the memory that I'll cherish forever, the one that always makes me smile, was that one time up north when Mom got stuck. Dad and I had already made it to the bottom of this huge snowy hill. We turned around and there you were, stuck right near the top. I can still picture it perfectly. Your Skidoo half turned, the track just spinning and digging a trench in the deep powder. And you looking down at us. Dad didn't even hesitate. We climbed the hill together to rescue you. I remember the two of us laughing as we grabbed the front skis of your machine and pulled with all our might to get you out of the snowbank. We were all cold, tired, and laughing by the time we got you moving again. My mind also goes back to those days watching you race motorcycles, Dad. I can still picture Mom and I sitting together on the side of a grassy hill with the roar of the engines filling the air. The track was so close that we could feel the vibration as you flew by. And I remember how exciting it was that there wasn't even a fence between us and the action. It felt like we were right there with you, a part of every single turn. And speaking of bikes, I have to laugh when I remember Dad trying to teach you how to ride my little Harley Davidson 50cc step-through motorcycle. Mom, I can still see you on it, trying so hard to get the hang of everything. You never quite figured it out. And I always said that if you had figured it out, that bike would have been yours, not mine. Beyond the big adventures, I also think a lot about how much you both shaped me in different ways. I remember you always encouraging me to do things for Mom's sake, Dad, even if you might not have fully agreed with it. Church was a big one. Always church, until I was 16. It was important to Mom, so you made sure I did everything she asked me to do. You taught me to respect her, right down to the smallest things. I'll never forget how you told me I could cuss around you, but never, ever use those words around Mom. And then there was that secret panel you built in my room for personal things that might upset her. I only ever used it for cigarettes, but it felt like our little secret, a sign that you understood my need for independence while still protecting Mom. You showed me how much you loved and respected her. And it wasn't just the high-speed adventures. I also think about the times we were in the garden together. To be honest, it wasn't a pleasant memory for me. My job was always pulling the weeds. And I remember being isolated in my own head, wishing I was somewhere, anywhere else, but there. There was no real sharing of the moment, but it is a memory of the three of us participating in something together. And I can still clearly see Mom tending her tomatoes or squash and Dad inspecting the onions or asparagus, even if my mind was a million miles away. Looking back, moments like those, from the thrill of the racetrack and the cold of the snowy trails to the quiet work in the summer garden, feel like perfect snapshots of our family. And of your marriage. Whether it was pulling a snowmobile out of a snowbank, cheering from the sidelines, or simply being together, you always faced every challenge and every adventure. You taught all of us what it means to show up, to support each other, and to find joy in living life to the fullest. Thank you for 70 years of memories, love, and for setting an incredible example of what a lifetime of partnership and devotion looks like. Congratulations on this amazing milestone. I love you both so much. Love, Phil.
Happy 70th anniversary, Mom and Dad. As I've been thinking about your anniversary, my mind hasn't gone to big events, but to the quiet, small memories from growing up. Those are the moments that feel like the real heart of everything, the ones that truly built the feeling of home. I can still feel the cool, silky water of the lake when we were up at the cabin on a summer night. I remember us all taking our baths there, swimming in the peaceful dark since there was no running water at the cabin. The stars seemed so close as we passed around a single bar of soap. It wasn't fancy or planned, just a simple shared moment of happiness born from necessity. I also think about our trips to the cabin in the winter. I'll never forget the time the snow was so deep, Dad had to park the truck up on the hill until he could clear the driveway. In order to get everything down, we loaded it all into the cutter, including us three youngest kids. I remember the great excitement as Dad pushed the sleigh down the small slope toward the cabin. Suddenly, the tongue of the cutter fell, stuck into the ice underneath, and the whole thing went end over front, throwing the three of us kids and everything we had loaded out into the snow. It was a moment of pure surprise, but it just felt like another one of our family adventures. And then there were the walks on the trails behind the cabin. Dad would go ahead of us, telling us he had to go pee and not to follow. Then a little further down the trail, he would hide in the brush, growling like a bear and moving the branches to scare us. We would squeal, grab a hold tight to Mom, but deep down we knew it was Dad and not a real bear. You made life feel both exciting and perfectly safe. Even the simplest things stand out. I have such a clear picture in my mind of all of us sitting around the kitchen table, passing around that one kitchen towel from person to person to wipe our mouths and our hands. Without ever needing to say it, you were teaching me what really matters. Your love for each other has been a constant, steady presence in my life, a quiet guidepost. Mom and Dad, I'm so proud of you when I think about your 70 years together. I know it wasn't always easy, but you both knew the importance of keeping our family intact and keeping faithful to your vows that you made before God, family, and friends. Marriage is hard, and you've proved that love is a choice. It isn't based on feelings that change from one day to the next. Thank you so much for this example that you've given us. Thank you for making our home a fun place to grow up and still to come back to. I love you bunches. Happy anniversary.